Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. This is one of my cucumber plants, well, several cucumber plants, one section of cucumbers. I'm going to show you how to prune the leaves. The leaves that are on the top, where the sun is hitting, well, soon, as it's morning, the sun's starting to rise. Those are the leaves that you want to keep. Leaves that are on the undersides of those, you don't really need, so you're going to prune them back. That allows for airflow, better disease management. It's easier to pick out pests and all that. Just want to give you a look at the plant. So there are several plants growing up there. It's starting to outgrow its trellis, but that's okay. Worst case is the vines come up, I train them back down, and I just kind of move them around through the trellis, filling in space. They will send out lots of side vines. You can prune those back. I'm probably going to try and keep those first. I'll cover that a little bit towards the end of the video. But we're really going to look at keeping the leaves on the top and removing the leaves down there. It's not going to hurt the plant. And wherever you have the vines coming in, we may just, push them through the trellis. The whole idea is to get the size managed. This pattern on a cucumber leaf is a fungal disease. It's pretty common for cucumber plants. You'll notice the disease is along the bottom, and it's also kind of now brown. There's less yellowing around the brown patch there. That's because I've been treating it with a spray. I'll be doing more videos on that. You can see it down here. That's really a fungus that is no longer active, so the spray worked to kill it off. Please subscribe. I'll be doing a video on that shortly. But today I wanted to just show you how to open up the plant so that you just get that better airflow. And you also notice the diseases are along the bottoms. So all we're going to do is kind of observe the plant. I've been tucking in the vines from this side to that side. That's why they're kind of out of control more on that side. They'll come back over this way when we get to that side. But you're looking at these outer leaves. They're real easy to get under and inspect. There's a squash bug actually. Let's get rid of that. To inspect, real easy to get under there and spray. The leaves that are inside are more difficult to do that. So you would kind of just look and you see leaf, 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 outer part. We don't need that one that's in there. And left-handed, I can't get to the stem. You can just cut the leaf off from up here. Some people worry, there's an insect right on that underside. Some people worry that you have to go all the way down from this stem to the vine and cut there. You don't have to if you don't want to. All you're doing is going in and basically, you could use scissors if you want, but I find that it's just sort of a waste of time. Like this leaf in here, we don't need. So you just follow it down to the stem, which is right down there by the flower, reach in, and you can just pinch it off with your fingernails. This one's going to come out too. On the bottom, I'll probably take out most of the leaves to about 6 inches up just to keep that airflow. And then as I'm looking in here, I'm looking in, for leaves that we're just not going to need. Like this one or this one can go. Remove that. This is what it's going to look like when we're done removing the bottom leaves. I'll show you how to do a top dressing with the organic granular. Water it in with some water-soluble fertilizer, then we'll water everything. But this is basic cucumber care, and again, we'll get to sprays in future videos. But open up your cucumber plants. They're going to thrive if you do something like this. Reach down, and then you just break that off and remove it out. And that's the whole idea. You're going to keep most of the leaves, but you want the leaves to be out here where the sun's hitting them. Airflow can go in there. First thing I'm doing again is opening up the bottom of the cucumber plant. You can see a bee flying around. Perfect to have pollinators. Cucumber, cucumber, cucumber. You can see some growing down there. Just opening up this whole space. I'll be able to come in, do my sprays. This will help keep disease better under control because of the airflow. Again, I want to stress. And you don't have leaves down on the bottom. A lot of these fungal diseases start in the soil and kind of work their way up. Putting down fresh mulch regularly helps also keep down diseases. So all I'm doing is cutting the leaf pretty close to whatever stem it's growing off of, and it looks like this. Here's a leaf, we don't want that. We're going to go right to about here and just snip it off. And that's it. The bottom space is open. That looks pretty good. Again, I'm going to keep stressing, it's the airflow. And there are actually 2 cucumber plants in here. The other thing to do is, if you're having problems with insects, is cut back, just remove the flowers out of this whole space in here. And then if you're using insect dust, if it's organic or chemical, doesn't matter what kind of dust you use, it kills good and bad insects. So if you have vine borers or insects that damage the stems of cucumber plants or squash plants, open up the space and you can put your dust right on here. Any bug crawling into that, and that's not usually a pollinator or a good bug, will die off. So this is one way to really manage this space right in there, and I'll be doing videos on that. So we look inside, we see the leaves right here, and we're just going to get in and prune them out. They're just in the way. Anything that is wedged into, it's easier to use your hand, anything that is wedged into the trellis, just break that off. Break that off. And then that's a vine coming out back there. So you want to make sure you know what you're pulling off. And again, space is opened up. We would remove the ones in here, anything that's just in the way. Now when you're breaking this, it's going to smell like cucumbers. Sometimes that odor or pheromone attracts insects coming in. So I have lots of videos on using insect dust to manage cucumber beetles and stuff like that. But again, today's just about pruning. Here's another leaf. We'd have to get in there, pull this one out. This one can come off. Make sure we have the right leaf. We do. And you can just pull it out. Scissors are a little bit easier when you don't have a camera in one hand. But that's all you're doing, is opening up that canopy. We have a vine coming off the stem, and here's the main stem, just in case you're curious. Main stem, so here's the main stem, and it just Y's off. To the left is the main stem, to the right was a new vine. Keep going to the left, another vine comes out, going to the right, keep going, and you can see the Y pattern. So the cucumber plant will keep putting out vines at different points. The one that's coming out here is going to be growing out into this space. You may want it, you may not want it, and if you're controlling for the size, you would just get in there and just clip it off. Let's just do that. I could keep this because sometimes I just let them trail down the garden path, like down that way or something. But I'm opening up that space. I think we got that. So now we're going to go upward, start looking in here, and we're just going to remove all the leaves that are kind of just smashed in there. This is the other side. These are the leaves that I've taken off. Now, there's no exact way to prune. It's really, again, about the airflow, and you're just removing the leaves that are on the inside, covered by the outer leaves, and you're removing leaves from the bottom. So as you're in here looking around, you're going to find, you know, new vines. Do you want to keep this? And what I was doing is I was just taking a lot of these and then tucking them into different places. When you do that, the leaves may get flipped upside down and stuff like that. Don't remove everything in your first pruning. Start with the bottom, some of the stuff in the middle, move the vines around, and then wait a day or two. These leaves will kind of correct themselves and turn out like this. So maybe this leaf ends up sitting right here. So you don't have to remove everything. You know, this is a good amount to take off of a cucumber plant. When we're done, I'm going to water this in with a water-soluble fertilizer. You can use fish emulsion. You can find that in my Amazon shop in the video description. Or I also use AgroThrive now. Both of them work. Fish emulsion has an odor to it. Some people don't like it. So I also talk about AgroThrive. That's in the video description. The leaf right in here is definitely covered by the vine right there and the leaves right there. So you'll go in, find it, pinch it, and whoop, one more pinch. Scissors are better, and then just remove it. As we come down here, this is the vine that we were looking at, and the question is, this one got turned upward. Do we want to keep this? You know, there's a little cucumber down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off right up here. I don't want it coming out anymore, but it looks like there's a good chance for that to turn into a cucumber. So we're just going to cut the vine off halfway and let it do its thing. The one coming out here down at the bottom, I really don't want that. We don't need that leaf up here either, or this leaf. Let's remove those. Don't need this leaf. There, and you're just kind of operating that way. So I'm going to look right up to the vine it's coming off of and remove that. So this space is opened up well, and I'm happy with how this turned out. And remember, you can do pruning in stages, you know, take off the bottom part maybe, wait a little bit, take out some of the center. It all depends. Cucumbers won't really go into shock. They grow really, really well, but you just don't have to overdo it. So I like how this looks. Here's all the leaves I took off the back side there, and then coming around here, this is what I took off from the front side, and everything looks pretty good. This is just a good way to manage the health of your plant. I'll be able to get in here, put the sprays under. I'll let them kind of adjust because I move the vines around, and when these leaves, for instance, this one turns outward, maybe I keep it, maybe it's problematic, but it looks pretty good. So let's just water this in with the water-soluble fertilizer. I forgot too, we're going to do the top dressing. So the top dressing is any organic fertilizer. This is a 5-3-3. Doesn't really matter what the numbers are, as long as they're all pretty close and represented. So a top dressing is really taking a handful and just scattering it around the top of the soil. Cucumber plants, your summer crops, really, you know, just don't clump it down here. You can just kind of sprinkle it around. As long as you don't make a big pile, you're perfectly fine. Your summer plants, your summer crops, we're also going to wash this in with the watering. So any kind of fertilizer that's sitting on the stem will go away. I'll show you how to do that. Cucumber plants, your summer crops send out masses of surface roots. So you really want to scatter the organic granular around that whole space, because that will break down, that will wash in when you water, when it rains, and it will get into that top 4 inches of the soil where there are tons of surface roots. And that's what you really want to feed and water. That really helps your cucumber plant and your summer crops thrive. So in doing this, we've opened up this space, easier to treat with dust if we have problematic insects. Easier to get in here and inspect. It's harder for insects to show up and hide because they don't have any leaves down here. Harder for diseases to take hold because you've opened up that space, you have the airflow. But you can really get in, inspect your plants, and manage your plants a lot easier when you cut back some of the leaves that aren't essential and you remove the leaves from the bottom. I do this every year. It doesn't hurt the plants. So at this point, this is fish emulsion. I'm going to give it a huge drink right at the stem, about that long. People always have questions, like if you make a gallon of fish emulsion, you don't have to put a gallon right there. I put on exactly what you saw. Through the rest of the plants, or through the rest of the surface, I just take the emulsion or the water soluble and put it across a space like this. This is a smaller bed, but you get the idea. And that's going to give your plants plenty of fertilizer really for the rest of the season. The reason I'm not showing the sprays now is because everybody may not need sprays. It just depends on what shows up in your garden. But everybody can do this pruning and this fertilizing. And then the last step finally is wash off everything at the bottom and then just soak it in. And you really want to go with, you know, counting to 10 and soaking the top roots. I'm not going to do the full 10 seconds, but you would just go like this, 10 seconds, definitely 10 seconds right there, and you just work your way down, and that will give them plenty of water. You want to water really regularly. When it's hot, when it's in the 90s and 100s, these plants want to shut down, so giving them extra water will allow them to thrive and help them get through that period. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com and prune your cucumbers. They're going to appreciate it, and they're going to give back to you for it. Thanks for watching.